Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Zero Gravity Gaming Platinum League here. Monday nights, of course, we're always in Plat. I am joined by Taco Cat and Thousand Eyes this week. How are y'all doing tonight?
Just peachy.
I am existent. It's the best way to put it.
Well, Tessa here has to cast after this, too. It's
Yeah,
gonna be,
I'm pulling double duty. I need to renegotiate my contract.
You make your... Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Of course, I am MXL. It's going to be a wonderful pre-show, a wonderful series ahead of us as well. We're going to be seeing Revolution Ice Age versus SON Leviathan. We'll touch on that one a little later. I do want to start just by going over some of the results we saw last week. Of course, on the schedule, I'm just going straight in order from what's listed. Elysium Rush, Glacial Valkyrie, Elysium take the 2-0 FF. Not much to talk about there, but I do want to just go straight into the stream game from last week. And Tessa, I'll let you start this one off. You were there, you casted it, you watched this happen. Imperial Gaming, no quarter gaming. It was a 2-0 for NQG. What happened in that series?
I mean, it felt more like no quarter had the number needed to push forward. They kind of were just always on the right foot, and there was no real strong contest. It was not a complete and utter domination in Dumpster, but it was a pretty solid win for both games for no quarter overall.
Taco, any thoughts from you on that set?
I agree. I mean, I think in the pre-show I hyped up No Quarter Gaming's top lane a little bit, and kind of casted cursed him because the first game, what did he go like 0 and 8 or something?
Yeah, it's not good.
Oh,
it was not great.
I'll take the blame for that, Mr. Juicy. But you stepped it up game
That's
2.
A sentence.
Yeah. You stepped it up in game 2 on your Urgot and went 6-3. So I mean, you made me proud. But you did pick the Alawi champion, which we all know I have a disdain for. So that's fine.
The Alawi champion.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The Alawi champion.
Shanghai is cringing somewhere right now, but
yeah, exactly.
I mean, Shang is just discount feathers at this point.
True. Oh my god.
We'll get to that. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I just even looking at the scorecards, I think it was a better game 1 from Imperial, at least from what the score tells. But game 2,
it felt like once no quarter had their feet down, there wasn't really much room stopping them. Imperial kind of were. Whenever they did fall behind, it was like, all right, we never have a way back into this. They lived up to their name of No Quarter Gaming and gave no quarter and played their compositions pretty well overall.
To be fair, it was also IG using an E-sub jungler, so
yeah. E-sub penalties, unfortunate, but sometimes are necessary. They got the short end of the stick with their jungler this time around. There will be a rivalry there. We'll touch on it later. But next up, last week we had VRG Olympus taking on Revolution Ice Age. I don't know if either of you got a chance to look into this game at all, but it wasn't really close.
Yeah, I took a look, and our boy Shanghai had a rough night of it. Total, he went 4 and 18 game score for both games. So I think their top side had a little rough go of it. Not only Shanghai, but his is, the most glaring on the score sheet for me.
Thousand anything?
I'll be honest, I really don't have a lot of info on the other games that occurred.
All right. Well, I can touch on this a little bit as well, because at former Rev here, I talk a lot with some of these players. From what it sounded like, it was a lot of differing ideas of how to play the game, different communication issues that happened, and of course they were running a sub bot lane. Rare Atom in Progress coming in, formerly LP distributor, I think. It's Cap. But it's gonna be interesting to see. We mentioned it we were talking about this a little bit before as well. Killatron and Levy coming back in this week will actually be around this time, so might be a different look. We'll get more into that later on, but communication seemed to be part of the weakness of that Revolution squad last week. Next up, and I'm gonna listen for the gas here a little bit. Clinical taking on Chosen Reborn. Chosen 2-0. I called this one last week. I know that for sure. But what happened here, guys?
I mean, it just looked. I mean, again, I don't want to flame anybody, but it looked like a no contest. Everyone had kind of abysmal score lines on Clinical. It happens. I think this is the team that had a mostly gold roster, and it looked like they were just trying to like push up in plat and see if they can hang with the big dogs. It doesn't look like their week 1 match probably turned out the way they wanted to, but I still have faith as the league will go on. I think they'll start to get more acclimated to better and better play, and maybe make a push for playoffs. But week 1 was a little hard for them.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it can be a little rough to kind of come in and play above your skill level, and kind of just sometimes you get socked really hard, but sometimes that can be the thing that allows you to sit back and say, hey, what did we mess up here? What can we change? How can we grow from this? And hopefully that's what's going to end up being taken from that.
Yeah, I mean, being the mid laner for this team, game 1 was all about top lane for us. Ogre just popping off on the Garen felt pretty strong. Kind of just took over the game. It was a little ridiculous. Game 2, solo lanes did well, bot lane did well. I will say, in game 2, Clinical, especially early on, was going toe-to-toe. It was actually kind of tense early on. And 1 or 2 Drake fights, 1 or 2 misplays around Drake fights, and it was just a snowball from there. So I think there's definitely some bright spots rather for Clinical on this in this tournament. And we'll have to see if, like you mentioned, Taco, they're able to kind of get more acclimated to the environment and show their stuff a little bit better. But that leads us to the final game coming out from last week. Esso and Leviathan, who we will be seeing tonight, taking on TA Divine. This was the only 3-game series, and it looked to be a pretty tense one. Yeah?
Yeah, I watched the games over with TA Divine because obviously I am on TA. And again, I think TA, their biggest weakness is ideas and draft. Everyone has different ideas, and they're all very confused on which way they want to play. And I think that's what it came down to. Their drafts were, in my opinion, a little wonky, and I would have done things differently. But again, I am a sub, so I have no say in it. But I think once they clean up their draft woes, I think they'll run a lot cleaner and hopefully be one of the top teams in the league. Again, I don't want to be biased, but I think they have the potential to, for sure.
Tessa, you?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just agree with Taco overall. Kind of touched on all the points I was going to get to.
Interesting take. All right. I mean, we'll see. I'm
excited.
Do you
want me to just be honest and say I don't know? I don't know.
I mean, that's the anyway. We're gonna just push past that right now. So we're gonna take it now into the predictions for this upcoming week. Of course, we're gonna save the stream game for last. Let us, hype that one up before we take it to that stream. But first game on the night, Imperial Gaming, Elysium Rush. We haven't seen Elysium yet. They did get the FF win last week, and Imperial looked a little shaky to start against NQG. What do you think's happening in this series? Who's going to take it? Taco, I'll start with you.
So, again, Imperial had a little bit of a rough go week 1 with the E-sub jungler, but now it looks like he's their main jungler, which is nice. So hopefully they got some scrims in. And again, you said Elysium Rush, we didn't see. So they're kind of the unspoken, the unseen heroes of the league at the moment. So I think it's probably going to be 2-1. I'm going to lean towards Imperial just because I have faith in Azure in the mid lane. But again, I can see it going either way.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna lean towards Elise or Imperial rather, just because like it's hard to put faith into a team that we have not seen, and just going and looking at these players individually right now, there's nothing that jumps out at me to say like, this is definitely a player that could just change the entire game or the series. I'm kind of just seeing like about what I would expect for a team of this caliber, and it's like, well, okay, if we've got data on one that at least kind of had some level of play versus just a no-name team that we have nothing on, it's hard to go away from them.
Yeah.
I mean, you say no name. Elysium's a pretty common name in the amateur scene outside of ZGG. Of course, this is the first time we're seeing them in this tournament. I'm excited to see their Rift debut, ideally tonight. I doubt Imperial's going to FF, so we should at least get some information on this team after tonight's set. But next up, we're going to take a look. Glacial Valkyrie, the other team we haven't seen yet, taking on VRG Olympus. VRG looks strong. I don't know what the hell Glacial Valkyrie is because we still haven't seen them.
Yeah, so I think Glacial Valkyrie is kind of dying under their own hand. They're e-subbing left and right. I don't know what's really going on with them. It's still, like you said, we haven't seen them. We don't know who the full five is. And then on the other hand, we have VRG, who had a really confident 2-0. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna piggyback off of what 1,000 Eyes said. It's kind of hard to take a shot on somebody we haven't seen, so I'm gonna go 2-0 VRG for this one.
Yeah, it's more of the same, right? How do you put your faith into a team that you know nothing about when you at least have a level of info? Unless the info is just like, wow, these guys suck. It's kind of hard to be like, all right, well, they're gonna get beat. I
mean, yeah, I can't really argue with that. We'll of course have to see that series. Also kind of intrigues me, just again coming from the standpoint of we haven't seen what's going to happen with this team yet, so definitely excited to watch that one play out. Next up, No Quarter Gaming, last week's on-stream victors, taking on Clinical, looking to bounce back from their loss to Chosen Reborn. I'll just let you guys start this one.
So again, I really love an underdog. Everyone loves an underdog. I know my boy Juicy wants to bounce back game one from last week. But again, I gotta love an underdog. Clinical, I believe in you. I'm going to be your biggest supporter all season. I'm going 2-1 Clinical. I believe in them.
Ooh.
This is Clinical versus who again?
No Quarter.
No Quarter.
Versus No Quarter? That's actually hard. Because No Quarter looked solid. And not just solid from a, well, we just kind of like out mechanics everybody. Part of what their lead was in those games was they got macro leads. They understood how to play the map. They played around each other better and worked as a unit better. And that is kind of the core of a really solid team in any league. So I think that their wins last week are going to be kind of a blueprint of what we're going to be seeing from them this season so far, unless they really get out mechanicsed by another team. Their overall just kind of basic level of understanding of how to play competitive league is solid enough that I think I'm going to lean towards the side of No Quarter.
You guys say lean. I think this is just a very clean and QG
I'm being nice,
series.
okay? Like,
I'm not saying clean. I just want my boy. I'm supporting them, bro. They got David versus Goliath. Come on.
I fully agree there.
Me into getting the community to hate me by being like, this team's gonna shit on this team.
Love
this team's
Clinical.
gonna just
listen,
put these
Clinical
guys
has
in the
the best logo in the league. That's all. Like across all three leagues. That's all I have to say.
What does that have to do with anything?
Listen, I only make.
Damn, those guys are really good at Photoshop. They have to be good at League.
I think they made their logo in MS Paint for the record.
They made it in MS Paint, not Photoshop.
This is not helping your point.
This is like, all right. You know how people will like determine their NCAA brackets with like what team's logo or mascot is, but that's what I'm doing here. I want Clinical to win. I want Clinical to do well. Clinical always has like really, really nice, genuinely like good people on their teams, and it's always a pleasure to work with them. So I'm rooting for them always, but and QG just looks good. That's the moral of the story.
I'm rooting for them, but they're gonna get shit on.
Yeah,
you're kind of just saying.
We'll see. I mean, I think next week they'll do well. We'll touch on that in the pre-show next week, of course. Next up, well, we got a battle on the desk, I suppose. Chosen Reborn, TA Divine. I'm not playing against Taco, unfortunately, but taking on your team.
I was asked to sub in, but I couldn't. I couldn't beat MXL today. I didn't want him to go 1-1 in this, so I got to step down.
I see. I mean, listen, I wouldn't even be laning against you. It's fine.
Yeah, but I would be camping mid. That's all I'm saying, bro.
I mean, I'm expecting it anyway. It's fine.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a game of Sybil.
Yeah. Honestly, again, I'm on the team. Like I mentioned, I think once TA Divine cleans up their draft woes, it'll be a lot cleaner from them. But again, I'm on the team, so biased is included.
You're both biased here. Obviously, my opinion is the only opinion that's going to matter here.
Yes,
exactly.
And obviously, because there is a team that has MXL, there is a team that has to lose. So I'm going to lean towards Team Ambition Divine here.
Let's go.
Tessa, I just, for the record, I got a penta in the first game you ever casted me. I want to make that known again.
Yeah, but you also made me cast the absolute
Yumi carry
worst
the very
game
next game
that I had to fucking witness. Good lord.
Well,
you just cast
I doubt they'll pick
Revolution.
I doubt they'll pick Yumi this time around, but our last game in the stream game for tonight, once again in week 2, it's gonna be Revolution Ice Age taking on SON Leviathan.
Honestly, I'm pretty excited for this series. I know their top side of the map had some question marks surrounding them, that being Revolution. But now that their main bot lane is back in Killa and sorry, I'm losing his name. Levy.
Yes.
Honestly, I think with those 2 additions to the team, they're gonna shore up bot lane. I think who they're playing again? Some Leviathan's bot lane might have a little bit of an issue with them because they're both really solid players. So I think bot lane should be a little bit more controlled, a little bit more tame for them. And hopefully this week of scrims, if they scrimmed, who knows, shored up the top side a little bit, because that definitely looks where Revolution was bleeding out last series. But that being said, I'm going to go 3-game series on this because we all want a banger for the stream. I'm going to go 2-1 Revolution. I have faith in Kill.
Yeah, so this one gets interesting mainly because one of these players is technically my boss, so I can't really say too much. And then the other, but there's also Adam.
All right,
that feels like it balances it out. I don't know.
I mean, Adam's a sub. He's not playing.
Yeah, but he's on the team. That's like.
He might be jumping to Chosen. We're not going to talk about that, but
ooh.
I'm going to leak that one real quick. We need subs. That's the moral of the story. Anyway. But I don't know. I feel like you guys are counting out my boy Macro Beast from Plat Worlds. I think Macro Beast is a little cracked.
It's pretty good.
Sorry, I forgot the full title. Macro Beast from Plat Worlds is kind of cracked. So there's a chance. I mean, you mentioned Rev's bot lane kind of bleeding out last week. I don't necessarily disagree, but it seemed like a lot of uncoordinated play across the map. I think that can be viewed just from looking at score lines as well, but it seemed like a whole team issue. So we'll see if the bot lane kind of fixes that or if it's still going to be more of the same. I'm going to say SON's going to win. I'm going to say 2-0, but should be interesting nonetheless.
Hey, all I'm saying is you're only saying that because Shanghai ranked you 10th. Let's be real.
I'm not completely disagreeing. Hey, we have DMs from him saying we'd realistically be, quote, 4th or 5th, end quote. So
yeah, but those DMs can't be leaked.
Aspirations.
So...
They can. Actually, sure. Ryan leaked them to me. Anyway,
I don't know.
Guys, we are so good that we could maybe make it halfway. Wonderful.
Middle of the team. They're not
shooting for the stars.
Yeah.
Truly.
Oh my gosh. Well, that brings us right towards the end of the pre-show. Anything else you two want to say before we take it to a break and get Shinkari in here to prep for
All I
Whatever
gotta
tonight's
say
game's gonna be.
is MXL, don't come crying to me when Sybil hurts you. That's all I'm saying.
I'm already. We're in lobby chat, and I'm just saying, please be gentle.
I'm warning you.
I'm gonna enjoy the games tonight. I can tell.
Very.
I just am very, very ready.
Well, we'll have to see how much Tessa really enjoys the games after this. We're gonna take a short break, get Shinkari on in here, and set up for game number 1, Revolution Ice Age, taking on SON Leviathan right after this.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming. MXL, Taco Cat, and even look who's that! Oh, Thousand Eyes is here joining us from the. Thank you so much for everyone there for that intro into here. We are finally ready to go. We have Revolution Ice Age and SON Leviathan for y'all here for the match. This evening, we get to bully our boss. Let's go. Yeah. I'm excited. Thousand Eyes is excited. And here we are. Picks and bans are already pretty much underway. Thousand Eyes, are you ready?
I am very ready. As you said, it is time to flame Shanghai. And that is what the entire night will be based around. But overall, though, there is a lot of interesting things going on here. We have Kilotron Kilotron and Levy, who have been around ZGG for a long time, and Macro Beast, who has also been in and around just amateur league in general for a long time. These are really long-term players that I'm excited to see in the start of a new season.
Yeah, and we have some awesome things on the line tonight. We are competing for an actual cash value this evening. Cash value in the sense that we both Shanghai has put the bet on the line here that Revolution Ice Age is going to win so much that if they lose, SON Leviathan, all 5 members get added into banter chat for free. For free, they get to enter into banter chat.
And obviously in banter chat, Shanghai will never hear the end of it. But regardless, we are into the pick phase here. Bans, Renekton, Diana, Lucian, Sivir, Swain, Zeri, all fairly common bans outside maybe the Renekton. But I mean, hey, Shanghai doesn't want to lose his money. And I mean, you know, all the rest of them make kind of sense. Ezreal going to be the first pick here with most of those really prominent 80 carries taken down. And Seraphine Udyr going to be the first picks here for Leviathan, going for something of a kind of a fighting AoE style team comp with that Udyr able to run people down.
Yeah, I mean, it does lend itself to a team that does. Do we miss a pick?
We did. Yes, we are getting it. It is Pyke.
Pyke. Okay. We have Ezreal Pyke down in the bottom lane. That's pretty spicy, but very good against the Seraphine. Yeah, I mean, Udyr here, I mean, I would say it's pretty early to call the whole team comp, but, you know, Seraphine does kind of lock you in to somewhat of a team fighting comp.
Exactly.
Udyr at the same time, like, is an interesting initiator, but we'll have to see. Trundle locked in for Revolution Ice Age here.
Yeah, and I think that makes a bit of sense here. You're taking away the possibility of that set 20 top, or at least making it very heavily risky to do so. And also you have the opportunity to steal a lot of stats from the Udyr. Udyr is going to build fairly tanky and just use those base stats in order to do what he does best. Trundle obviously enjoys that a lot, and the pillar does a lot to help protect his team from somebody that is movement speed based like the Udyr.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Trundle, I actually really like in this comp so far. You know, I think I've talked about, you already know my stance on Trundle. You know, Trundle to me is a counter pick against characters who are either immobile or are insanely tanky. Now, there aren't insanely tanky members on SON Leviathan right now, but they all lack some sort of major mobility skill, right? Like Kai'Sa would be the closest thing to some sort of mobility skill, and maybe Udyr as well, but they're really only movement speed increases. It doesn't get you around the Trundle pillar, right? And so when if Trundle is ahead and traps you in with him, and even sometimes if he's behind and you have the right stats that he can steal from you, then he will be able to 1v1 you a lot of times, and you will be stuck in a really bad situation with nowhere to go unless you have to spend your flash.
Yeah, it's always kind of funky where you see Trundle, because like you said, he's got those 2 really strong points and he plays around that. I think while there isn't an extreme hyper tank, Udyr fits the bill enough that Trundle's ult will not be put to waste in this game and will get some decent amount of usage. As we are through in the second ban phase, taking away a lot of the really solid mid lane kind of counter pick, or not counter pick, but the blind pick options, as Leviathan kind of seem like they want to have mid be their last pick here. They're hovering over a different couple of supports, actually, which tells me that they already have their mid laner. So I'm a little confused on the bans here, because if you're looking at your Seraphine going mid, that can work with anything. You kind of don't need to pick you don't need to force Revolution onto something not safe, because Seraphine's not going to have kill threat on pretty much anybody, no matter who you choose here. Now you're putting Seraphine maybe a little bit at risk if you are going to have Revolution, because they're going to be like, all right, Nautilus, Kai'Sa bot, Seraphine has to go mid here. So now now you can go for something maybe aggressive, something that can assassinate the Seraphine and get out, and that creates a little bit of weakness in the mid lane. There is still the possibility it's just a scaling mage v scaling mage style of composition, but I think it opens up an opportunity that Leviathan didn't have to put themselves into.
Yeah, I mean, this might be a last minute kind of switch, knowing that Pyke is going to be in the bottom lane, right? Like, Pyke is, if you want to challenge Seraphine early and really give your AD carry a lead, or even Pyke a lead, right? Right? Like, you want to throw an assassin into the bottom lane to go up against Seraphine. She's really squishy. She's really immobile. One sort of hook onto her and she goes down in an instant, especially if you have an Ezreal with something like a Sheen early. Sometimes the Sheen is good enough to deal that damage early in order to finish off a character like Seraphine. So maybe this is a swap saying, okay, we know Pyke is going into the support role. Let's swap Seraphine into the mid lane, which is, you know, not ideal for her, but is still rather flexible. And we can put someone different in the bottom lane with Kai'Sa to match up against the Pyke, which in this case is the Nautilus.
Yeah, I don't know. We're belaboring on it, but I think they could have just they could have banned out top laners if that was the case.
Right.
Maybe take out that Sejuani, because now we have Aatrox versus Sejuani, and I honestly think this is a free lane for Sejuani. I think Aatrox can win this, but it has to be played really well. Sejuani kind of just has to exist and then show up in team fights, and then boom, you're good to go. What I do really like here is the Lissandra, kind of what we talked about a little bit, is ability to get on top of Seraphine, and Lissandra will be able to do so. Trundle with the pillar as well is good follow-up, and then we get to team fights. The engage potential is so strong from Revolution. They've got a Pyke, they have a Sejuani, they have a Lissandra. There's a lot of opportunity there to start a fight on their terms and not really have to worry too much about it, because it's using really good tools. You use Sejuani ult and it misses, all right, cool. We've still got Pyke, we've still got Trundle pillar, we've still got Lissandra. There's always engage opportunities from Revolution, even if one doesn't work.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is really great lockdown that Revolution Ice Age has here, and I think my big thing about Lissandra is that with her claw, it's kind of a good thing that this makes Lissandra a much more flexible version of Malzahar, right? Like, whenever I see Lissandra or a Malzahar picked, it's really just like, hey, here's a point and click, instant cast, stun onto one particular champion. It's going to lock them down and keep them from doing whatever they're doing, right? Like, it might as well be just like, it's similar to Malzahar Ultimate, where it's like, oh, someone's diving onto our AD carry, immediate lockdown that we can immediately turn on as well. And Lissandra can, because of her claw, go into enemy teams a lot better than a Malzahar. She's a little bit more mobile in that regard. So if we have a Sejuani or a Pyke that is already in the thick of it, Lissandra can follow up and activate this as well. My only problem with this is that now we have to deal with Glacial Prison and Frozen Tomb in the same game, which is basically the same ability, just like they looked at a Thesaurus for 2 seconds and were like, all right, we've already got Glacial Prison on Sejuani, and this is basically taking someone and putting them inside like a little trap, and it's icy. What do we got? Let me just flip through the Thesaurus real quick. Frozen, okay, they're being frozen, and Tomb. All right, got it. And
Glacial Tomb, Frozen,
yeah.
Pillar.
Uh-huh.
The pillar. Guys, don't forget the pillar.
Yeah, don't forget the pillar. Yeah.
So one thing that I kind of did want to touch on a little bit here was the Pike Nautilus matchup, because I have played both sides of this. Neither is fun. They're both not enjoyable to play, and it's kind of a game of chicken, right? One person hooks. Let's say, for example, it's Nautilus that hooks first, then grabs the Pike. He just charges up his hook, tosses Nautilus over his shoulder, and dashes backwards. Whereas you look at the other side, if Pike grabs Nautilus, he's basically now just free to engage unless Pike is going to dash through him, but there's a good amount of resistances there with the Aftershock and the shield on top of it that Nautilus is going to be able to frontline for a good bit of that burst and kind of go from that point forward in a pretty advantageous position. So it's kind of an interesting game of chicken, of who's going to be the one pulling the trigger first. And if one of those hooks misses, that is a definite go button for either one of these bot lanes, I feel.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely tough. Honestly, I think it's tougher for the Pike, right? Because Pike just really cannot miss this hook, right?
Yeah.
I feel like if Nautilus even hooks Pike, there are like cases where Nautilus just like snares Pike for a little bit and then has some opportunity to kind of get around him, because Pike, in order to get that opportunity where he like, you know, flips Nautilus over his shoulder and then dashes through him, he still needs to sit there and wind up, right? Like, obviously it'll be harder to hit, but like,
remember though that the actual charge is the distance of the hook. So if he does not need to charge it up long. If he is hooking somebody right in front of him, it can be pretty quick. Obviously, if you just tap it, you just get the slow and the AoE damage. But point being, it is pretty quick, and it is not a fun time. And I really think it's about who is hitting their hooks. If one person is missing their hooks pretty consistently, that lane's going to turn into a farm fest for the other team, and they're just going to continue to roll over them multiple times.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that as well. You know, it's just mostly Nautilus. When Nautilus is landing hooks, it's going to be a lot more difficult to get away from that sort of engagement, just because of how much CC Nautilus has at level 2 in comparison to Pike, right? Pike has a lot more wind-up time, and in order to land that CC, whereas Nautilus is just like hook, snare, that's the end of it, right? And then, you know, it's just, to me, like, Nautilus is going to be a lot more annoying to deal with, especially early on, just because of how tanky he is from just base stats alone. And then, you know, how much easier it is to execute, you know, his hook and snare combo as opposed to the hook and then stun combo from Pike.
Yeah. It will be interesting, and obviously it does take a level of understanding to kind of prepare for that. Just taking a look at other areas of the map, however, you know, the Lissandra Seraphine we talked about, that there is so much scary potential for Twiz to get really good shots onto that Seraphine. And especially when you have a Trundle as well who can gank really early. Seraphine doesn't have great ways to avoid that level of ganking. And that can turn really poor really fast for the Seraphine. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on where Trundle is pathing, because I think mid lane focus could be a very easy pick for Duggery to go for.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Trundle is really going to facilitate a lot of chaos on this bottom half of the map, because, you know, once again, these are very immobile characters that don't really have a way to get on the other side of Trundle Pillar outside of just flashing, right? And there's a lot of skills you're going to have to end up flashing on this bottom half of the map, right? Pike and Pike combo, you know, the Trundle Pillar as well. And really, the only person who can get on the other side of the pillar easily is going to be that Aatrox up in that top half of the map here. So I really want to see how, once again, I think my eyes are going to be on Doggeroo as well, because these are going to be a lot of chances where you're going to have to flash. And then if you flash, you know, good junglers will be like, all right, their flash is down. I'm coming back to here for the rest of their eternity, right? For the rest of their life, I'm going to gank this.
Yeah.
But that is going to do it from us here. We are going to take just a short break, and when we come back, we're going to be on the Rift of game number 1 of Revolution Ice Age versus SON Leviathan. We got banter chat on the line. You don't want to miss these games. We'll be right back after this.
begun, and metal shall prevail. For we know what they have done. 5 legends of our realm who sought to follow the path of their dark musings. But they did not know what they had summoned. Pentakill. To these creatures, there is but one thing left to do. Heavy metal.
My king, how was I supposed to know? Everyone will falter when you die. And as we speak, the army of our enemy is approaching our gates. We cannot fly. Behold, my son, there's a way to save you all. Don't you despair, don't be petrified. There is an armor, ancient magic made it strong, and you shall wear it when you face the fight. This harness will guide us through dangerous night. It humbles the foe with its grace. The thorn mail will help us breathe and survive. Our deadly faith we Well done, my son. It's the way to save you all. But don't you think the realm's been purified? Creatures of darkness are still longing for.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Thousand Eyes, and here we are on the Rift. Game number 1 of Ice Age Revolution up against SON Leviathan. We are ready to get this game underway. We have a 5-point start, if not for SON Leviathan doing a cheeky run down the mid lane, showing them they have no fear. They're ready to take this game and get that banter chat right. Thousand Eyes, are you ready?
I am ready. Killtron also just kind of hanging out and jamming over by the Raptor Pit.
Yeah.
Important to note, we already have 2 wards used by SON Leviathan, so they're fairly defensive wards all around. 1 ward from Revolution, as it is the Ezreal ward here. They are expecting a little bit of something here, as it's a late invade from the Nautilus, going to be pushed away by the Ezreal and just turn out to be a little bit of finagling around buffs.
Yeah, I think they might have just been looking for a ward into the try and maybe some cheeky level 1, but man, I don't know if you were able to really get anything off of that. It depends. It depends on a lot of stuff, but yeah, they already knew it was coming. They're not going to be able to get any cheeky level 1. Regardless, we have an opposite start from the junglers here, which means we're going to see Udyr going down to the bottom half here, as already level 1 Kaori Miyazano, you're taking a whole bunch of damage.
But it's a trade that Levy also takes a lot of damage, and that is always going to be advantageous for the support. You always want to trade your health bar for that NBA to carry health bar every single day of the week.
Mm-hmm. Especially now that he's forced to chug those pots. That is another resource that they're really going to have to hold on to in these first early levels here. Oh no, that is so much damage. Macro Beasts have to spend the flash in order to save their support here. Holy moly, that is a lot of resources spent to not die in that moment.
Yeah, everything burned just to keep that Nautilus alive. All they have left is the Ignite, and Levy and Kilotron burned nothing. Just Kaori getting a little too close to the sun and paying the price for it. Now Twiz actually taking a lot of damage here, which, remember, we were expecting to see a little bit of action in this mid lane. Not going to happen if Twiz gets low enough. Lissandra has to go in to actually make these fights work out in her favor, and without health, she is not going to feel comfortable doing so.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Lissandra is at her best when she's able to punish a duel with the W and then turn it around with a bit of
Shanghai
damages. Yeah, Shanghai's in some trouble here. Low HP, but Doggeroo coming in from the jungle here. Going to throw up the Trundle Pillar. The Cone is going to stop them for just a little bit, forcing the flash here, but you take that every day of the week. Meanwhile, on the bot lane here, Macro Beast taking incredibly low. Levy is looking for a little bit more, but he's going to be stunned up. Here comes Spies in from the jungle here. Great Exhaust is going to keep them away for a little bit longer, but Levy still has to get away. The Bear Slap is good. Flash was spent. Levy trying to get away. First blood for Spies, and now he's looking to run down Kilotron here, but he's not going to be able to get them now. He's too close to the turret. 1 for nothing down in the bottom lane.
Yeah, there it is, Ezreal. Unfortunately, falling there. Not enough escapes there when you dive in with the E. Is also Seraphine. There is the gank that we wanted to see. Gets the mid lane kill. Ezreal, very mobile, but not when you shift forward. You will be waiting a little bit to get back out of there. And unfortunately, the over-aggression, as they got Kai'Sa low, baited them in, and Spies came around for a quick 1-0 in that fight.
Yeah, I mean, it was a particularly greedy move to like do that kind of defensive thing forward with not a lot of vision here, as Doggeroo making another visit up into the top lane here. Malachor V doesn't have anywhere to go, so he's looking to take that one kill onto Shanghai here, but Shanghai once again taking it out once and on top of that trade and gonna come out A-okay, but here comes Spies in from the side, gonna look for a bit of
they are going on this.
Oh, they are going in immediately to challenge the Udyr, but they have to be careful. Here comes...
Yeah, there's too many minions. They cannot chase this, I don't think.
Yeah, okay.
Shanghai, the keeper of banter chat, just holding on to this top lane and coming out a decent bit ahead so far, thanks to the extra ganks from this Trundle. Doggeroos have a really impactful, feeling on this game, as it's just ganked mid, ganked top. As
that's a funny
there's some fun stuff. Yeah, that's always a fun one. You could do the same thing with Blitzcrank Hook, actually, if you time it right. It's a lot more difficult, but it is a lot more funny when it does happen.
I like to imagine that Nautilus's hook is just like stuck onto the wall and he's just pulled all the way backwards. Blitzcrank tries to knock them into the air, but they're already like midway through going back to the wall.
Yeah, it can look really funky. I've played a good amount.
Or even better, the Nautilus just doesn't move.
Yeah,
that would be so funny if Nautilus just didn't move. He was just being pulled in 2 different directions at exactly the same speed and just doesn't move.
So I have played a depressing amount of Nautilus to know exactly where that is actually where some of those hooks can actually end up with you and how they interact with other ones.
Speaking of, here we got Kaori Miyazano is stuck in the middle of the cone here, nowhere to go. Kilotron is going to be the one picking up the kill there, as now Macro Beast is still looking to do a little bit more fighting here, and Doggeroo is just like, hey, if you want to keep fighting, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to tussle. Let's go. Let's go, Kai'Sa. Let's go right now. It looks like Kai'Sa is not going to take them up on that bet. So it looks like they're once again going to try to continue to position around this first Drake here, which is an Ocean Drake.
Yeah, Twiz coming down there was actually really crucial. It kept that from being a 3v3 and made it a 3v2 for the actual fight and a 1v1 on the side that Twiz was able to handle and just keep the Udyr busy. So extremely important that Twiz showed up there, even though the stats aren't going to really show that.
Yeah. Really, really good job by the Lissandra playing that line of scrimmage there from the mid lane. We get our first Drake of the game. This is an Ocean Drake, so this does mean very good things for especially Shanghai in this top lane, who has just been taking nothing but harass damage over and over again.
Yeah, but still holding strong so far.
Mm-hmm.
And now...
Oh yeah, it's not particularly a bad time, right? They haven't died. that would be the worst case.
Yeah,
scenario,
yeah, yeah.
Right?
I mean,
like,
the thing
still,
is,
like when you're sitting in lane on a champion that doesn't naturally heal themselves, just below half HP, that just feels bad. It's just really annoying.
But really, what it is that this is looking to just get out of lane and get into team fights and make sure that you don't give over kills. So far, that has been successful, and I don't see that changing anytime soon because very quickly Sejuani is going to outpace what Aatrox is capable of in terms of just tankiness.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the tankiness inherent to Aatrox is a lot easier to counter than like just stacking armor, right? That Sejuani's going to be able to do, right? I mean, it's just so much easier to just build a Kempung Chainsword or a Mortal Reminder, or so on and so forth, than it is to build like a bunch of armor piercing, max health damage. You have more health than me, so therefore you take more damage items.
Yeah, it's
a very long-winded response.
At some point, you just started saying like buzzwords. I felt like I was in a meeting at work. It's just like, guys, we need to upgrade our compatibility with other brands.
We need to up-level our brand.
Yeah, it's.
Can I say
honestly,
that is one of the biggest buzzwords that bothers me?
Our subjectivity is down a lot this quarter.
Subjectivity. God, we just need to table. You know what? I really like that idea. Let's table that and sync up about it at a later meeting. Pike coming in from the jungle here. Gonna get that hook interrupted here as Killatron has to dash away in order to try to live here, but Macro Beast immediately gonna press the ultimate button here, and that's gonna exhaust is not gonna be able to save them here as Levy tries to turn this around as best they can. Meanwhile, there's a fight happening in the river. Seraphine ultimate comes across as Dash is gonna be able to get away here. As meanwhile in the top lane, it's nothing but fighting all across this map here. Twiz is in some trouble, gets hooked. Cowrie is real low here, and Levy is looking to fight a little bit more, but they're gonna go down as Spies picks up the kill there. And now Levy looking for Seraphine over the wall as Doggeroo 1v1 the junglers here. He's looking for Nautilus, but can't quite get through the Udyr wall here. That's going to be the Ezreal ultimate coming across, but now he has no HP left to fight. Double kill for Spies, 4-0 on this Udyr. This is huge.
Yeah, all of a sudden, just a chain reaction of the fight in the bot lane turning into more, and I said it is a game of chicken. Whoever pulls the trigger first loses, and Pike pulled the trigger. Nautilus was ready and there to catch him, lock him down in place enough, and force him basically to just back away and be non-existent, and then eventually pass and later on in that fight. But then it continued upwards. With one person down, they just had to continue on. There was a fight in the river. Well, we took out one person. We can now be the ones to go up and help our team in that river area as well. And it just got out of control so quickly, and there was not any disengage from Rev. They pay the price for that one at the end.
Yeah, for sure. And, now they're really going to be feeling the pain, because take a look at what Udyr has built here. They're going for the Dark Seal. They've even got the first mythic item on the map to boot. This is what happens when you're 4-0 in the lead. This is an insanely good start for Spies here, as now, how is Doggeroo going to even match up to that kind of pressure already? As Killatron finds a hook over the wall. Cowrie is going to look to turn this around. Macro Beast does so much damage. Killatron bit off a little bit more than they can chew, and this is them looking to get into that banter chat. Malachor 5 is going to be able to find the kill on Doggeroo, and now Shanghai with no mana, no HP left. Spies picks up the 5th kill.
Yeah, and now the game is spiraling out of control. Once again, an engage on the Nautilus, not what you want to get there. Twiz gonna have to claw out there. Nope, gets rooted in place.
Rooted, charmed, the whole thing and the kitchen sink, and it's going to be them picking up another kill. Spies putting themselves continuing to spiral out of control here. 6-0-1.
6-0-1 on this Udyr, and who is going to stop him? Because Ezreal damage is not going to be tank shredder status for a good long while. We are still waiting on one item completed for that Ezreal. Spies, look at this. Just doesn't
tanking
care.
up 2 members. He's just running away. Yeah, there he goes.
Yeah,
there he goes. He's pulling a trick 2G. Just turn around, bear slap him for a second, and continue to walk away. Killatron can stay in this fight. That's a good stun. Pulls them back in. They're real low. They need to look for that ultimate. It's coming through. Spies picks up a kill, 1 for 1 at the end of that. A shutdown goes to Killatron. But dang, okay, Twist comes in here now looking for some fighting, but Malachor 5 is here as well. Killatron is here to support, but man, how much can they really get done here? Killatron is already insanely low, and Malachor is level 10.
Yeah, don't think that's happening anytime soon, but the kill does come through. Killatron picks that one up and gets the shutdown.
Oh, okay. Levy's stepping a little too far forward here. That's going to be Nautilus setting up the dunk there. They're knocking them into the air. That's going to be Macro Beast dashing forward, and Macro Beast picking up another kill. It's 12-5. We're 13 minutes in.
It's 12-5, and we are 6K gold advantage for SON. I know that on broadcast it is not showing correctly, but just for clarity's sake, it is 26.8K to 20.3K.
Yeah, that's
right now. That's a lot of gold.
Yeah, that's a lot of gold, especially at 13 minutes in. And Shanghai's looking at 1v1 here. I don't think you can take this anymore, bud.
No, not at this point.
This is not what you were looking for. I don't think.
Hit tab there, Shang. You got a Bomby Cinder at a tier. That man has a gore drinker.
Yeah, that. Yep. Yeah. Now Doggeroo might have actually found a good engagement for themselves here, but here comes Spies from the mid lane here. Doggeroo's still looking for a little bit more, but it's now a 3v2 here. They're able to turn it around. Macro Beast is coming in from the side. Killatron needs to look for a 10
doesn't care
here, but it's just too much damage. 1 double kill, triple kill now. Macro Beast is going to pick up that 3rd one. Twiz might have walked into the wrong side of the jungle. This isn't yours anymore. Going to have to pop that W, but Spice does not care. Continuing to dive onto this tier 2 turret, forcing the ultimate out of Twiz as well. They haven't even taken the tier 1 turret yet. He's looking to dive on top of Spice. Might actually be able to find the kill here. Pretty close. Nope. Not able to land that Q. I think Spice gets out of there scot-free. Never mind. Here comes Shanghai. Doesn't land the Glacial Prison. They're still looking for it. He dodges around so well. And now here comes Malachor. They're getting it. Oh my god. Okay. Pops the ultimate. Still doesn't land the kill. Going in again. Spice still lives. This is so close. They're still looking to fight. Doggeroo coming into Malachor here. Levy is here to support. They're still looking for the damage here, but they're taking so much in return. Nautilus might not have any mana, but needs enough for just 1 Q in order to pick up the kill on the Doggeroo. This fight keeps happening, and RIA keeps losing.
I'm gonna check Twitch right now to make sure that TrickTG is not streaming right now, because this Udyr has opened the gates beyond anything that I have seen in a competitive game of League of Legends, and it is terrifying. Looking at the gold now, it is 80 just between Trundle and Udyr. Trundle has 4,000 gold. Udyr has 8,600.
Yeah.
The gap, it is not a gap, it is not a canyon. There is an entire dimensional rift between this Trundle and this Udyr right now. And Udyr is not ever going to die. Like we said, the tank busting is not going to come from Ezreal till late. Ezreal is still building up. As of right now, he is just a siege poke style of AD carry. He wants to kite out fights as long as possible while trying to do incidental damage the entire time. Nobody else has DPS. The Lissandra is not going to kill Udyr in her life. The Dwani is not going to do it in her life. Trundle, never going to happen at the current rate of gold. Like, there's nothing that can ever take this Udyr down. Nobody is strong enough.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is like, you put the nail on the head. I don't think there's anything else to add to this. Unless Ezreal makes a hard pivot to like the old blue Ezreal build and builds like a Blade of the Rune King like right now.
He builds Elder Lizard somehow.
Yeah. Builds Elder Lizard. Yeah, I mean, you build Elder Lizard. Why don't we just throw a Atma's Impaler in there too? No one knows what that item is anymore. I saw the Team Liquid video.
Yeah, no, I saw. Yeah. I didn't see the Team Liquid video. I saw the clip of it on Twitter though.
Oh my god. Afro Moon, no one knows what this is? Really? Okay.
Yeah, you guys all suck? What an unlike Afro-Moo thing to say. Wow,
Yeah.
who could have seen that coming?
Wow, Killatron coming in from the side here, going to be able to throw down the Glacial Tomb here. They're looking for the 4v1, going to be able to look for a 350 gold shutdown onto Malachor here. Shutdown is going to be picked up by Killatron here with that ultimate. Let's share that gold around.
That was 4 ults.
Yeah.
They used 4
Yeah, it
ults
was.
on that one poor man.
Yes, they did. Yeah, you are correct.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they collected a 350 gold bounty too, so it's not really like that. They got like, what is it, like
1,000
950 gold? Yeah.
About 1,000
little
gold
bit more,
when you
but now
include
this is
Pike.
exactly. I don't think you want this. This is going to be immediately Killatron, happy after getting that 1 kill, immediately taken down. As that's going to be Doggeroo, the next to fall. Good hook onto Lissandra here, going to be able to find the double kill. As Shanghai coming in from the side, taking incredibly low. As Spies is now going to be able to corner Levy. Good hook, good stun, good ace. They don't even need the tier 2 turret, and they don't even need anything. They're going to clean through the enemy team. 23 kills at 18 and a half minutes. Shanghai came into this game. We are going to beat you so hard that we are going to give you banter chat for free if you win. And now Shanghai, you know, eating his own words at this moment.
Shang looking a little bit like the Monopoly guy when he's pulling open his pockets. Like, where did my money go?
Yeah.
Losing out on the banter income, Shang will be,
you know,
as it seems like.
The only thing to do, I guess, on Twitter after this game is just to ask, you know, Shanghai, what notes, what flavorful notes he has to the taste of his own foot. You know, there's some taste of, is this mushroom notes I send?
What?
Yeah, like foot fungus? Okay, come on.
This is very quickly getting to a point where I'm just going to go away. I just do not.
You've never done like a wine tasting and then just been like, oh, this
not with feet.
I know that. Yeah, but that's the joke.
Also, I don't drink, so no, I've never done a wine tasting.
Okay. Then a cheat. I don't know. People do that stuff all the time. Oh, do I detect notes of in like cheese and wine? I don't know. People do that all the time. I'm sorry, you're uncultured.
I'm sorry that me not drinking alcohol makes me uncultured.
Okay, not doing any wine tasting, any cheese tasting, nothing. Uncultured. How dare you? How dare you not consume alcohol?
Yeah, how dare I not? How dare I not try to live like our capitalist overlords?
Yeah, aren't you so... Okay, regardless, Baron is being started up 20 minutes in. This is as early as you could start up the Baron, and I think this is the easiest call in the universe, right? I don't think there's like nothing really. Yeah, see, like we're gonna get this contest here. Shanghai's gonna go into the middle of the team after the charm right
sure
there.
Is.
Hold him immediately, and now Twiz is gonna look to interrupt here. Throws out the claw, gets into the pick, and a stun out Spies here, but they have no one to come in and get. Oh no way! Okay, well they get it, but will they have anyone to actually utilize the buff here as Killatron is trying their best in order to get away, but that is immediately going to get run down and taken out. They're able to win the Smite War, but will they be able to get anything off of this Baron buff is the question.
No. The answer is no. Ezreal is the only one with it there. He's just kind of doing his own thing, and then suddenly just Baron buff around his feet. Confused as all of us were watching that happen.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing is that this is not late in the game. So Shanghai is back up. The rest of the team is ready to go and defend the base here, but it's not like they're not going to lose anything off of that steal, right? They were able to steal the Baron, and that was exciting, but what are they going to do off of that, right? They've lost more than what they've gained because of that steal.
Items.
Yeah.
They're going to buy items and try and at least match here. I guess they kind of lost more, but at the same time, it was a jump in gold for both teams that Revolution had not had this entire game so far. So while it is a gasp of life, even if it is sputtering, it is a gasp of life.
Yeah, and normally we're not usually this negative about games. But when you're 16,000 gold behind,
they're not 16,000 gold behind. So
yeah, that's the big thing. Like 16,000 gold is usually insurmountable. It takes a comedy of errors in order to win a game after being behind by 16,000 gold.
That is
right?
an item and a half per person.
Yes,
on
correct.
that team. Like,
Yes.
that is bonkers level of just stat difference alone, let alone just what the item breakpoints are. And you consider just how much Kaisa relies on item breakpoints to really hit her stride and how quickly she got those in this game. And just also, once again, still not at a point where Ezreal is going to be doing a lot to this Udyr. We are closer. We are, I think, at a point where it will have an effect on the Udyr.
Yeah.
But it's not, the effect is not killing. The effect is making him giggle as his feet get tickled from the Mystic shots.
Yeah, we just saw how much damage the one Mystic shot did, and it's like not even a tenth of Udyr's HP bar. It's not even close. Might have been like 2. 2 is my guess. 2%. Do you think that's fair? 2%?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, let's see how this plays out here. Shanghai throws out the Glacial Prison here. Trundle looking to follow up, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do so. It's going to stop their push for now. Once again, this fight is literally just a war of attrition. I think they can just sit here for the most part and not feel relatively safe.
I don't think this is a war of attrition. Attrition is losing badly here. This is a war of one bear man pig versus the world, and the bear man pig is winning.
He is going to be Bear Pig when he gets a rework, but that's going to be Macro Beast diving into the backside here. Shanghai incredibly low. Macro Beast going to find the first kill of this fight here. That's going to be the Seraphine ultimate coming across, going to be able to find the kill on the Doggeroo. Now Spy's going underneath both turrets and trying to look for the next kill here as Levy falls. Levy's able to find one kill onto Macro Beast in the back here. Spy's finding some damage. Lissandra finally able to join the rest of the fight here, but it's 4v2. Will they be able to defend this, as that's a great hook, forcing the ultimate out. Calories underneath the turret, going to find a shutdown for Killatron here. Can he be able to turn this around? Does not have that ultimate available, so can't find that execute. If they want to be able to do something, keep this game alive. Now's your chance. Rooted up, stuns, knocked into the air, killed. Blue team goes down. That's the ace. Game number 1 is going over to SON Leviathan as the hopes and dreams of RIA are destroyed by this Udyr, as now Shanghai trying to keep this game alive, trying to keep themselves maybe a little bit from tasting their own foot, but that's going to be game number 1 going down. That's going to be SON Leviathan winning the first game of this evening.
Oh, yeah, and in dominant fashion as well.
Yeah.
As it was just no real chance from start to finish, really. Honestly, I think a good bit of that just was mistakes and a little bit of lack of respect of what was happening around the map. I don't think that there was... So one, we took a Pyke alongside the Ezreal, and I don't think that's a great matchup there. I don't think you want Pyke with Ezreal. I don't think it works terribly great. Unless you're looking to just like hard gank mid, which did not happen at all. And also just, I don't think you needed Pyke to go mid here. You have Lissandra and Trundle. That is enough to kill a Seraphine. So it felt like Pyke was a little bit out of nowhere. But then you also just look at how strong this Udyr got, and there was no counter for it. They did not prepare for the possibility of a fed Udyr running people down, because they just kind of assumed that they'd be able to win at least one lane hard enough to get that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, oh man, it's so... There's little to talk about with that game. That game spiraled out of control. And then after that, it was just like, okay, well, you know, it gets to the point where you're just like, okay, so about game 2. But yeah, we are going to take just a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be in picks and bans of Revolution Ice Age up against SON Leviathan. Game number 2 picks and bans at the other end of this break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Thousand Eyes, and here we are in Picks and Bans. A little bit late to the party, but don't worry. We'll get you caught up to speed. And game number 2 of SON Leviathan versus Revolution Ice Age. Now, we are pretty much into Picks and Bans already. We're already seeing the Nami Lucian, the Season 11 World Championships duo bot lane coming to fruition here. And we're ready to get this show on the road. Thousand, are you ready?
I am ready, and I am excited to see Revolution going for a much stronger, earlier spiking bot lane, I think, than what we were getting. The Pike just was not going to do much for bot lane with an Ezreal. Lucian Nami has obviously been super strong for a long while, and now we get a Shyvana here. Now, this can be a flex Shyvana, this could be top, this could be jungle. Both have seen some level of play, but it is most likely going to be that Bruiser Shyvana with the tank items, and then on hit to just basically frontline and do obscene amounts of damage, basically very similar to Udyr.
Yeah, I mean, Shyvana, yeah, it's literally exactly the same. I want to say, okay, let me amend that. It's not exactly the same, but it is very similar, right? Shyvana does get a whole lot of movement speed. She wants to be up close and personal. But the good thing is that with recent Shyvana builds and, you know, over the past couple of seasons, how people have been playing her, the big difference here is that even if you try to run away and you successfully get away from Shyvana, she still has the big flame breath that does considerable amounts of damage. It's just so much if she goes heavy into the AP build, but even if she's just sitting on a Nashor's Tooth, that's still a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's kind of nutty. And the Poppy pickup here, this is interesting a little bit here, because this does kind of change how things with Nautilus are going to work. Remember that the Nautilus hook and pulling himself in is basically a dash, and Poppy can block that. And it's also just a solid blind pick jungler when you do have a lot of other things banned away, like that Udyr. And going up against a Shyvana, you want to have a little bit of early game presence. And Poppy, right now, is one of the queens of the early game presence junglers, alongside stuff like the Pantheon. But if you want a scaler, if you want something that's going to have some late game presence, Poppy will do the job just fine.
Yeah, talk about late game scaling. There's Veigar right there. And, you know, right now, Revolution Ice Age is... looks like they're just saying, it's like, hey, you can run us down as much as you'd like. You're not getting onto our backline. They're basically forming the biggest anti-melee line of scrimmage you can possibly make. You know, the only thing missing here is just one more insanely long-range champion in order to benefit off of this Veigar cage and the Poppy line of scrimmage here. But I think this is a good answer from SON Leviathan here, with a Seraphine and a Nautilus, and they're just like, okay, I mean, we don't have to run at you. We can just shoot you from over here, I guess, and we'll CC you from a million miles away. We can just do that if you'd like.
Yeah, so I like what Revolution are kind of putting together. It's been a composition that hasn't been meta as much, just because there has been the new hotness with the Sivir, with Misfortune and Ashe support and things like that. So we've seen a little bit of falling off from that, because Veigar just kind of naturally struggles against some of those. However, I think it's still strong. I think it's still overall a really solid composition here, and Urgot to finish it off strongly to just give enough frontline here to allow Lucian and Veigar then to burn through their cooldowns, blow people up, and go from there. The tankiest person in this game really is going to be either the Shyvana or Poppy, and it's not really the tankiest person in League of Legends, so there's going to be a lot of damage thrown around in this game.
Yeah, there is so much that's going to be able to be capitalized off of this. Nautilus and Seraphine ultimates, like, and Shyvana, Gangplank, and Misfortune are no strangers to just high damage build, right? Gangplank has the brick build and lethality as well. Misfortune with the lethality build also, right? And a lot of these builds, a lot of damage that Leviathan is going to end up doing is it's going to go by a lot of defenses that Revolution Ice Age was put together, right? Nami Wave, Poppy Shield, Veigar Dome, like they can deal this from very far away. They don't need to use Nautilus to engage into your team in order to deal this kind of damage. So Revolution, I say here, might have to take a little bit more of an aggressive approach to their team composition, use that tidal wave in order to give Poppies a movement speed in order to get into the enemies, and then they maybe turn it into a 4-4-5 or a 3-5, or even just use that ultimate to knock them here so that the Revolution can go wild on Lucian or go wild on the enemy.
Yeah, there's a lot of options here. I think. I still don't know if I thought about obviously put together a composition that is really just big damage AoE like style composition. It is heavily focused though on the Misfortune bullet time, and that's always a hit or miss thing in my opinion. You have some really solid opportunities to get some really crazy good bullet times, but at the same time, one good Poppy flank, one good Nami wave, one good Urgot teleport can completely change the outcome of that fight. Because if you don't have that Misfortune, well, what do? You kind of just fall apart there, and that can be a bit of a struggle. As we do kind of check through on the pro comms here, you can see that it is going to be overall a harder spike in that mid game with that wombo combo, but the scaling will get outpaced by the late game of Revolution. They've put together something that has some decently good early game, has some decently good late game. It's just really that spike in the mid game that there has to be worry for.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is going to be just really tough. You know, once this mid game happens, we're really going to have to keep our eyes on both of these teams here as they get later into this game, because both these teams do have some solid scaling and do kind of scale better into this late game here, right? So it is going to be interesting to watch this mid game happen, because there are so many spikes in this mid game. You could even argue that mid game Vigard is very strong, right? Like, it's not like Vigard needs to go super late in order to be powerful, right? Vigard just needs to have good enough items going into the mid game with enough stacks in order for that to do well, right? Like, yeah. This is going to be very interesting to see this kind of power level. You can even see that on the kind of graphs here as we take a look at where these folks are going to be spiking, right? And as a whole team, we saw that on the team insights really quickly there, that both of these teams are very powerful in the mid game and then fall off only very slightly as this game goes later. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two game dynamics pop off, because, you know, one team might have a little bit of an advantage in one lane early on, but somewhere else will have a better advantage elsewhere. So it'll be interesting to see how this game is played out, right? Because both these teams, once again, are going to be spiking it around the same times.
Yeah, I'd say there's a little bit more spike early for Rev, a little bit more spike late for Rev, but that mid game is just where the fears lie, and that can kind of snowball out of control either way, really. You see the Gangplank up at the top side having a little bit of will most likely struggle. Once that level 9 hits, that is where Urgot, I feel, is just kind of at his top ability to take on this Gangplank, especially with help from that Poppy. But as it goes on later and later and later, it's going to get more difficult. It's going to get rougher, because you're going to have that insane high damage that can happen from such a long range, and that can open up opportunities, that can open up a go button, because these people are so low health that you just have an easy engage from that point onwards. And the thing is, everybody on Revolution is low range overall. There's no long range damage. There's no like siege style composition going on. Lucian short range. Vigar for a mage, fairly short range. Urgot for a ranged top laner, fairly short and has to get in the middle of the fight. So it's gonna be difficult for Rev.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially when there's so many abilities, it's gonna be able to punish them for coming in close, right? Nautilus, Seraphine, Gangplank to a degree as well, if you're walking into places that are unwarded, right? And Gangplank has those barrels set up. Like, there's a whole lot that could punish you if you are not engaging smart or staying in the thick of things just smart, right? You have to play smart against SON Leviathan's team comp, in order to get away with what you want to do, right? And it almost feels like Revolution Ice Age wants SON Leviathan to engage into them, right? That's why you pick the Poppy, that's why you pick the Vigar, in order to punish someone for engaging onto you. And you see the Shyvana, you see the Nautilus, and you're just like, wow, that's great. If you're going to engage onto us, let's counter that. But immediately, SON Leviathan pivots hard with this Misfortune and Gangplank pick that, like, we don't need to engage into you anymore. We just need to get you close enough and then put enough CC onto you that Misfortune can have an uninterrupted bullet time.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I think, honestly, the biggest thing throughout this entire game is just watch the Misfortune. The Misfortune is going to make or break this game for either team, and IDing where Misfortune is and what her cooldowns are, if she has that bullet time ready, that's going to be the biggest thing for both teams to keep track of.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is going to be an interesting game for sure. That's my word of the day. You know, I've said it a million times, but you know, if this is going to play out similarly like we saw before, this is once again Misfortune and Gangplank, and Shyvana to a degree as well can run away with this game if Leviathan gets an early lead. But we'll have to see how this game plays out and whether or not SON Leviathan is walking away today with those banter chat privileges after this game. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello and welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by 1,000 Eyes, and here we are on the rift of game number 2 of SON Leviathan versus Revolution Ice Age here. And Killatron Instant. Oh, okay. Gary's still looking for it though. That's gonna have that flash.
Well, they really want this.
They're still looking for it. Nami's gonna force the flash here. I think you take that because that's a support for support flash there, and Spies does like going down to the bot lane. However, this is game number 2 here. SON, this is their match point here in order to get themselves into banter chat for free. Shanghai looking to get that fight level 1 though. Guess the flip cuts off Malachor from the escape. Does keep Vigar is in the wings here. PTA has been procced. They're trying to cut them off, maybe taking a little bit too long of an approach here.
What is this early game?
Don't do it. Okay.
I don't understand what is happening in this game, but regardless, that's actually a major win, I think, overall for Revolution. Is that means Malachor has to chug through 2 of those pots early, and Shang will have complete control of this top lane, even more so than he would have had earlier.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely doing a good job of making sure to continue wresting control, and now Malachor is popping that last corrupting pot here. So now Shanghai has a lot more resources to work with, right? He also has that life steal off of the Doran's blade as well. So this is going to be just that much harder for Malachor up in this top side here. As, you know, before that was a much weaker lane for Revolution here. As now, Levy, okay, got some good damage in, but not able to fully commit.
Yeah. Right now, we're obviously seeing the level 2 power spike from Levy and Killatron. They will have no problems controlling this lane for right now. It's the level 6 spike that Macro Beast and Kaori are going to really look for. But up until then, it's kind of dealing with the barrage and trying to poke out this MF as well. No, you don't want to dash in, buddy.
Yeah, Levy, oh my god. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of damage. Take a look at Levy chugging that potion below half HP right here. And, you know, you have to be careful how you engage into a Nautilus.
It's always scary. And dashing forward with Levy, we saw kind of...
Oh, no. Threads the needle. The lollipop is too good. Macro Beast is going to be the one picking up the kill here. Killatron doesn't really have a whole lot to go on here. The Ignite is ticking, but it's not enough to take down the Nautilus this time round. First blood one more time goes over to SON Leviathan.
And that is off the back of that first dash there. They get the engage. They get the Lucian down low. And boom, they do it again. They get the kill. All of a sudden, what should have been a lane that Levy and Killatron won just kind of lost off of the disengage tools being burned to engage. We saw that last game with the Ezreal. Ezreal was dying because the shift forward was used to try and confirm kills, and unfortunately it just was not going to happen.
Yeah, now is Doggeroo looking for Spies here, going to be able to maybe pick up the this Rift Herald here, the Scuttler. It looks like it's going over to Spies though, so they're going to be able to grab that, get out of there, only really spend their Ghost. That's an important cooldown, already not available for the blue side jungler here. Is Levy looking for that Ignite proc, but
God. Oh, they have to be so careful too, because it's going to get rough for his top lane, Doggeroo. A nice gank on that top side. Doesn't burn flash for Malachor, but at the end of the day, it's still pressure, and it might just end up causing for Malachor to have to back a second time here, which is going to be the case.
Yeah, and it's tough because Shanghai basically has to freeze the wave up on his side, but it's been crashing relatively even up on that top side. So this wave management up on this top half of the map is going to be very important because Malachor did already spend their teleport. So this is going to be just a really long time for them to get back to lane, and they need to be able to freeze it. Oh no, Killatron. Okay, taking some damage here, but I don't think Nautilus is within range to throw out that hook.
Yeah. So now the back away. Shyvana's early game just not going to compete here with the Poppy. And it's really just looking to farm up and hit that level 6 point so we can get those jumps in from the Dragon Lady. Shanghai hitting that Urgot power in stride here as we get some more levels in that W to allow it to eventually hit that toggleable point And that is where it gets really scary for this GP, although the regen here for Malachor is coming in clutch alongside the Sheen poke.
Yeah, it's basically every single time they've had to come back to lane, they've chugged every single point of that corrupting potion here, and you know, it's paying out at least a little bit of dividends here as Levy does not have that electrocute proc here. His spies might have caught out Doggeroo. Here comes Dash in from the side as well. Good's charm is going to pull them in closer, force out the flash. Spies looking for a little bit more, using the smite in order to heal up his carry. Looking for the hook, going to be able to land through the bubble here, trying to peel this out as best they can, but Levy is so incredibly low. Macro Beast picks up another kill in the bot lane, and Killatron cannot turn this around, and now they're a little bit too close, bitten off a little bit more than they could chew here, forcing the flash away as well. Man, that is multiple summoner spells spent by the Nami here, and more kills for the Misfortune.
Before the power should even be there, even as Macrobeast still not at that level 6 point, and Levy and Killatron just continuing to fall behind. 2-0 up about 11 farm, and has not only that serrated Dirk, but also the Vampiric Scepter for that Eclipse being built up. And that's scary because now, okay, one of the things that Killatron and Levy did have was that regen. They had the healing to be able to trade back away, heal back up, and kind of make that a little bit easier for themselves. Even if it was an even trade, they still technically win that out. Now with the Vampiric Scepter, it gets harder to do that because there is now built-in healing on that Misfortune.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, once again, Misfortune, and we say this a million times, Misfortune is a snowballing composition, and it's going to be very hard to shut her down once she's ahead, but Levy's going to give it a try here. Exhaust is coming down. She's going to be able to find that last auto attack, going to be able to find that kill, but Levy, Ignite is still ticking. Poppy's coming in from the side, looking for the hook again, but pulls themselves into the wall instead, taking incredibly low. Might be able to find that last bit of damage, but the W hits a minion instead. Doggeroo coming in for the side, going to slam them into the wall. Last bit of damage. Doggeroo picks up the kill in the bot lane. Is 2 kills onto the board for RIA here, but here comes Spies looking to fight Doggeroo. Dash is coming in from the side as well. They're looking for this. It's a 3v2 right now, but they have the turret to support them as well. Doggeroo taking incredibly low, but that's going to be the Shyvana ultimate coming across the wall. Going to try to slam them against the wall. It doesn't work out. Dash looking for a little bit more damage. Levy dives in, going to be able to find that last bit of damage that they're looking for. Dash here going to tank the full culling coming through, but that's going to be Macro Beast coming across here. They need just one bit of damage here. They've got the auto attack. It comes through. Macro Beast comes out huge. Bullet time comes across. Twist does not have the baby cage anymore, but that's going to be a kill for 2. Make it 2. Make it 3 for Misfortune in the bottom lane. Shoutouts to Gangplank, the real MVP of this team fight, allowing Misfortune to secure kills when she probably wouldn't have been able to do so. It's a bloodbath in the bottom lane.
Yeah, MF and GP just kind of closing their eyes and shaking hands here for a second as they end up getting together to help pick up those kills on the bot side. A really nice job. Macro Beast looking incredibly good there with the engage. And then Doggeroo, where are we going, buddy? What's the plan here?
Doggeroo's in a bit of trouble here. Does get the knock up here. Does interrupt the hook. But I don't think they can get into this Dragon Pit, but they're looking to contest hard. Now the fight is being called here. Get the slam onto the wall here. Seraphine Ultimate only lands on Nami here, but the Tidal Wave is going to slow down Dash for just a little bit here. Levy's still looking to contest here, but it's going to be slowed up. They're only going to be able to find 1 kill here, but they do lose the Drake still.
That was a little bit iffy. They do get the dragon, they do get out. But yeah, Macro Beast. I mean, I'm really impressed here with Macro Beast's capabilities on the Misfortune, because not only did we get the Malachor?
Yeah, Malachor is in some trouble here. Shanghai is already doing a whole lot of damage. Flash forward, pulls out the meat grinder. Can he get the Rhea? Yep, there it is. Pulls him in, turns him into pirate soup. Gonna be able to grab a kill up from the top lane. Shanghai finally able to get a breath of life after that game number 1.
Shanghai live pulling the money out of the pockets of its opponents, trying to make sure that the banter chat does not become a freebie.
The gaslight gatekeep girl boss of the banter chat.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, Shang, obviously this is kind of where we're seeing Urgot be as strong as he possibly can. Actually, Shanghai maxing the Q instead of the W here, which is an interesting choice. I have not seen a lot of Q max Urgot. Yeah?
Ooh, wait a minute. Hold on, Levy. That's a whole lot of damage. There's a bullet time and response here. Gonna turn it into a 1-for-1. And I think that's fine.
That's technically a win for the side of oh my god, why am I blanking here? That is a win for the side of SON Leviathan.
Okay.
I got there at the end of it. Okay. But Leviathan went out on that because it is the AD carry that dies, and Misfortune still stays alive, able to just back freely. The gold is going in the right pocket there. Everything kind of just working out, and also just K-Ray did nothing there. I'm gonna be real. K-Ray just kind of offered himself on a platter, and they still won that, which is kind of terrifying.
Yeah, as Spies catching out Doggeroo here. They'll look for the fight. Twiz is here to help out, so it doesn't look like they'll be able to push in any much longer here. It's Killatron and Levy waiting for Macro Beast. Move up just a little closer. Okay, there's the dash. There's the electrocute, looking for more. Going to be able to proc press the attack. There's the shutdown they've been waiting for. Twiz in the mid lane as well, flashing outside of the ultimate. As Kiori waiting for the red team here. Spies is here to support as well. That's going to be Depth Charge coming across. They're really looking for Levy here. Tidal Wave comes across, going to be able to keep them away for a little bit longer. Levy goes down, though, and now it's a 1v2. Spies does a whole lot of damage. Oh, yeah, here it comes. Gangplank Ultimate once again. The homie from the top lane comes in clutch, as that's a double kill for Spies here. And now Dash and Spies looking for Killatron. Going to be able to find the root. There's the Flame Breath. There's the triple kill for the Shyvana.
Yeah, there is the Shyvana we know and love, and how powerful that Shyvana can be just once she gets the items done. Tank item finished, boom, she's now a frontliner that will not die and completely obliterate everybody that gets in her way. You get a little bit of help from the GP, a little bit of help from the Seraphine, boom, your damage is going to stick hardcore, and there's not a lot that can be done about it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, once again, this is a team that is not super far ahead, but is playing very well and is coordinating very well and is putting the kills onto the right people right now. And I think this is true for both teams, right? I think both teams have their most amount of kills on their AD carry and their jungler. And I think this is the best places to put your gold, kind of generally with regards to League of Legends. Across like multiple, just because it's able to spread the gold around fairly well, and most of the time, if the game goes late, an AD carry will be able to help you deal damage better than like a mage or something. Obviously, this is a very general statement, and there are very specific cases where this is not true. But you know, regardless, Malachor, however, fighting Shanghai in the top lane, and eat those oranges and his K.
Yeah, we're starting to hit the point now where the GP will be very capable of handling this Urgot. Just has to be on the right terms, and yep, those are the terms. Those are the terms and conditions in the contract. It is
no one ever reads those.
No
one ever reads those.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is unfortunately, even if you don't read them, they are still legally binding.
Yes, of course.
Ooh, Malachor was very close on that. Almost got that, but Sheng ready for that, stops the barrel before it gets through, and Shanghai takes one wrong barrel, and I think that's just death. Is Levy now. Hook does miss. Kaori in trouble.
Yeah, this is going to be the re-engage here, but a great depth charge, huge bullet time here. That's going to be the tidal wave coming across, but they're still going to be able to pick up the kill here. Doggeroo is now in trouble as those slows are very good. They're still looking for a little bit more here. Twiz showed up on the wrong end. There comes the baby cage here, but Spies is going to be smart about it. They're still going to wait before re-engaging here. They're running out of fury, though. They want to go through this good stun. Let's see if they can find more. Not going to be able to find it, but Killa, oh my god, Killatron really dies to make it rain. Shanghai has teleported in, but now it's a 1v4. I don't think you wanted that teleport, but that's going to be another kill going over to the blue team here, cementing a 2.1 thousand gold lead and the second Drake.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a little bit of the same here. It started off a little bit better thanks to that early game composition that was built, but with the Lucian trading kills consistently, it doesn't work out. MF's power spike is massive right now, and the Lucian is just kind of going 1-for-1 every single time in these fights. not what you need when your strongest person is also your person with your most deaths.
Yeah, I mean, it's something to say here. Spies might actually be caught out here. Has to use the ultimate to go over the wall, but you know that's a nothing. That's a nothing cooldown.
Yeah. It feels like it's starting to get a bit similar to game 1 right now.
Yeah. The only difference here is that Revolution has actually like a chance, right? Like that's the big difference. Even this game hasn't started to spiral yet. And you know, there is still a very solid win condition in the Lucian here. Right? It's not like they're completely SOL, right? Like there is still like a really solid fighting chance. Like even though he has 6 deaths, 5 kills and 102 CS is still a lot of gold to put into your pockets. And Vygar will be able to stack up that AP passively, right? So this is still, it's still like, I don't want to say that they're winning, right? But it's not like game 1 where like a bunch of mistakes happened and then it slowly spiraled out of control into an unwinnable state. At this point in the game before, it was much different, but Levy definitely in some trouble now. Good tidal wave going to come across, but the bullet time is so strong. They're going to be able to find another kill for themselves. Underneath the turret in the top lane here, Shanghai is going to be taken down by Spies as Doggeroo's got nowhere else to go but into the river. Might have to take the long way around in order to escape. But, okay, they might have to juke them around just a little bit.
Oh.
Ooh, very smart.
He's going for Malachor.
Oh, he's looking for Malachor. He misses the shot onto the barrel here, but this might actually be the escape plan that they were hoping for. Doggeroo gets away, and now, man. Okay, no one's going to get that reference. That's a really old movie.
I do want to give people just the heads up. We are aware the scoreboard is a little bit bugged and stuck right now. Clarity's sake, big score lines right now. 5-1 and 2 on Shyvana, 7-2-2 on the Misfortune, and 5-7 and 2 on the Lucian are the big things we're looking at.
Yeah, but that's going to be Seraphine maybe putting themselves on the scoreboard a little bit here. That's going to be the GP ultimate coming across here, looking for the last bit of damage on the twist. Going to be able to find it for themselves. Thank you, Aerie. Number 2 MVP after Gangplank.
Yeah, just the alley-oop and look away from the Seraphine at the end of that ends up working out for the side of SO and Leviathan. And Leviathan have looked really strong. Obviously, they have a little bit more than just the score to think about. They want their ticket into banter chat.
Yeah.
And nothing has been more clear than the fact that they want banter chat than this game.
Yeah. Turns out all you have to do in order to get League of Legends players, in order to actually play the game and play really well, is just to allow them and say like, hey, you can banter and flame people if you are able to win this game. Like you will be given permission to do so.
Yeah. If you win, you can talk smack about me.
Yeah. Gary's in some trouble here. That's going to be an easy kill given over to Levy, hopefully, but that's going to be bullet time thrown across here. Levy taking incredibly low. Ignite is ticking. It might actually go down. 6 and 8 now on the Lucian here. And that's a 1-for-1 there after all that was spent. But Spies still looking for the re-engage here. Here comes Malachor here from the side here. Still looking for the re-engage. That's going to be the Shyvana ultimate coming across. Huge damage, but that's going to be the answer from Poppy there. Knock them back to Timbuktu. You can go back to home right there. But this does position the blue team very well to start up this dragon in about 40 seconds here.
Yeah. You know, I'm kind of wondering. There's a Timbuk 2. What happened to Timbuk 1?
The same thing that happened to Timbuk 3.
I don't like the ominous nature at which you are not explaining. I want to know what happened to Timbuk 1 and Timbuk 3.
You can't handle the truth.
Is this part of the contract that was signed in Gunpowder?
Yeah. Yeah. I told you no one reads those.
God, you're
I'm
right.
sorry that you... Damn it. Okay, here's going to be a good hook on Tanami in the backline here. Great. Seraphine Ultimate's going to pull them back in here. Flash on top of the Poppy is going to mean Dagaru is going to be the next to fall here. Spice is not going to be in this fight, but still going to try to do their best they can. But Kaori's going to be the next to fall to Twiz here. But it is a 3-for-1 here in favor of the blue team as they start marching their way down to the Dragon after taking 2 mid turrets.
And the strength continues here as the towers are starting to fall. It was just a kill lead, but it is now ballooned into more. The towers, the money. Ooh, okay, Vygar doing some work, doing some damage.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like Vygar, this like if this game falls behind, they still have Vygar for dealing damage, right? Like if anything, I don't know how I feel about the electrocute on Vygar. I think I've been liking just the Predator on Vygar just a little bit more. Just so you can just run up and ult people. I think the big thing for me about this comp that that Revolution has drafted here is that Vygar will continue to scale and will continue to stay relevant in this game as long as they are just farming minions, right? Not because of the gold that the farm gives, but because of his passive just stacking up. Let's take a look at the stats. Let's take a look at his stacks right now, actually. 146, 147. That's not bad. 147 ability power. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely adding up, but I think the scaling is just not at the rate we need here. Killatron, yeah. Goodbye.
Yep. Bye-bye. Death brushes are still pretty good at plat, turns out. As yeah, that's going to be the support gone for just a little bit, and they're looking for another 20-minute Baron.
Yeah, I mean, now we just kind of walk it in, take the objectives, force fights into positions where you just cannot really have many opportunities. Shanghai now gonna get caught.
Hook. Yeah, they do have that bullet time available one more time. Shanghai incredibly low here. That's going to be the Gangplank ultimate from far away. The culling coming down as well, doing some decent damage to Nautilus here, but that's really the only consolation prize they've got at this moment. Bullet time still has not been used. Spies waiting on the wings here. Dagaru not there to block the Shyvana dive if they're looking for it, but I think they're just going to peel away and look for this Baron buff.
I think that's the smart call here. I'm actually backing. I don't know if they're going to go for it. They may just be disengaging. So I think without MF, I think they just kind of back away, reset. I think they maybe could have gone for the Baron. I can respect that they don't want to risk it. They don't want to put themselves in a position where they end up losing on that. Specifically, too, because they did end up losing the game 1 Baron, thanks to Dagaru showing up and getting the smite off just perfectly. I think right now you're far enough ahead that Baron does not have to exist for you to actually end up winning.
Okay. Killatron taking a bit of damage here, and this kind of illustrates why I like Seraphine as a mid laner, and I'm not like bent out of shape if she's not a support. Because look at all these... Okay, Levy, never mind. I don't get to talk about Seraphine because Levy is in a whole lot of trouble. Look at that damage coming through. Ultimate comes across, going to be the finishing move right there as they're looking for Dagaru. As I'm on the backside here. Harry's just 1v2ing Shanghai and Killatron here as Spies is able to come in as well. Dagaru gets the wall slam, but they're still looking for more Spies just slowed underneath the turret here. But Macro Beast has joined the fight. Taken low, looking for the root flame blast. Dagaru goes down.
When it goes bad, it starts to go worse very quickly. And now the Baron will be started as there are only 2 people left to even consider stopping it. MF not the greatest Baron taker because they're passive. Obviously, she doesn't have a way to proc it on anything else. And her base AD, kind of stinky boopy.
Kind of. Uh-oh. Stinky. They pick up the Baron buff easy peasy as now Kaori is just like, hey, Shanghai, how you doing? How you doing? Remember how you made that little bet? Remember how you said you were going to beat us really badly? Okay, you did. Spies is going to be legendary here, 8-1-3 on the Shyvana.
It is ironic. It is ironic that Shanghai's banter of saying that they could get banter if they beat him is now going to unlock a significant amount of reverberation banter back at him.
Yeah. Like, I think
they say that it rhymes like poetry.
Yeah.
You know,
Poetry and moetry, you know.
If my girlfriend was watching, she'd be so angry I made that reference.
I was gonna say something and now I don't remember what I was gonna say.
I've done my job.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know if it's anything you said specifically. Yeah, no, I just don't remember. It was a joke. I don't remember. So I guess you get out scot-free from having to groan at some sort of joke. I don't know. Oh yeah, Shanghai will probably never be able to live this down. I think that's gonna be like he will just never be able to
there are a lot of things that Shang cannot live down. So it's really not, I don't think, a concern at this point.
Doggeroo looking for Malachor here, but this isn't level 2 anymore. This is level 15, and look at how much damage he's already dealing to Shanghai here. He's going to need that Urgot to come back in, turn him into pirate soup here. Now they're looking for the dive on the bottom lane here. Levy is going to be the next to fall here as Macro Beast tanking up the turret. Now it's Kaori, but they've got the Cloud Soul, they've got the Baron buff. They're just going to be able to get this 1-for-1 across the map and continue this push on the bot lane.
Yeah, MF is kind of at a point where even under tower, you cannot really contest her, and that's going to ring true for the rest of this game unless a Vigar hits the MF exactly as needed. But okay, Dash kind of staying a little bit too far forward here. All right.
Yeah, but this might be the re-engage that they're looking for here. Doggeroo took a lot of damage, and now these turrets are melting one by one here. Macrobeast caught inside the baby cage here, but Macrobeast still able to pick up the kill on the Vigar here. Spies does have that ultimate available, full Fury ready to go. Diving on top of Shanghai here, cutting the healing, looking for a little bit more burning as well as the rest of the team comes to join. Kaori's going to be the one picking up the kill there. As now, 5 members strong against only 3 from Revolution Ice Age here. And now they're going to start pushing down the Nexus. Only 2 turrets stand between them and Banter Chat as 2 members fall to Gangplank plus Misfortune. It's a double kill, and their dreams have become reality. Shanghai, let me know what your tasting of your foot is going to be like as they are going to get their way to the win and get their way into the Banter Chat. SON Leviathan comes out huge with a 2-0 victory.
I don't want to hear about feet, dude. Like, come on.
Look, I just want to know what your foot tastes like after you.
I don't. What, man? All right. Rev got smacked. Analytically, that's how I would describe that. They kind of just. I mean, okay, for a full actual analysis here, bot lane lost when it really should not have. Bot lane should have been absolutely Lucian Nami or steamrolling early on, and the fact that they ended up losing out and giving a bunch of gold early to MF just kind of took that lane and flipped it on its head on what it should have been. I think Levy and Killatron, they're good, really good mechanical players. They just kind of weren't really fully prepared for what they were trying to do, and you can't be using these cooldowns to dash in as an AD carry. You will die very quickly doing that.
Yeah, there was just a lot of really, really close. I mean, there were so many engagements that Kaori was just able to just immediately stop. And a lot of times they were going 1-for-1 in the bot lane, but they were going 1-for-1 with a Misfortune, right? And 1-for-1 with Misfortune who scales like harder, like spikes faster than Lucian does. Even though this Lucian does do good damage and did do good damage, right? Take a look at the damage chart here. 14,000 for the team. You know, that puts them pretty solidly ahead of both Gangplank and Nautilus, and pretty close to Shyvana and Seraphine on the enemy team, and the highest on their team as well. You know, it's just not going to be as good enough because the rest of the team is built around Misfortune. Really, only the bot lane is built around Lucian.
Yeah, I think they just kind of expected Lucian Nami to be able to win and then take that and go further, just to kind of have Shanghai do a solid job at the top lane, which was the case for a while, but eventually the scaling came. Malachor and Spies, they affected bot lane a bunch, and eventually the fact that their early game wasn't as strong didn't matter as much because we weren't in the early game anymore. Doggeroo kind of tried to be that front line, but when your team doesn't have enough damage to burn through the Shyvana and the healing and shielding from the Seraphine on top of her, it's kind of really difficult from there.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we are going to call it a night. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And if you haven't noticed already, we have a sponsor. Our sponsor for this season of Zero Gravity Gaming is ProComps. ProComps is a first of its kind drafting tool aimed for competitive and solo queue play. ProComps allows the user live feedback and analysis on drafting, giving them recommendations on picks, notes on matchups, and analysis on the enemy team's win conditions. These features allow the user to gain an edge on their opponent and improve their drafting skills. Use code ZGG for 50% off the first 3 months. And you can take a look at it on screen right here. It gives us a whole lot of interesting stats about your draft, about the picks, about the stats of the individual champions, about the spikes of your opponent. Is very, very interesting to see these kind of stats right here. If you want to help us out, help us support Zero Gravity Gaming and also get some cool stuff for yourself, head on over to ProComps for yourself. But from myself, the entire live broadcast crew, Thousand Eyes, my co-caster, and Proof, our production for this evening, thank you all so much for joining us today. GG's to both teams, but at the end of the day, it can only be one victor. And tonight, it is SON Leviathan. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next match. Bye-bye.